Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Entertainment Banter. My name is Joel,
And I'm Matt.
and on this lustrous afternoon,
Yes.
we we want to bring to you a new
You're still making a decision, aren't you? You don't know.
maybe. I told Matt I was going to choose one of these, and
All right.
a subjects we came up with that I'm still thinking about it. So, Matt,
Yes.
was Saving Private Ryan a great movie?
Oh, like a great movie.
What did you think of Saving Private Ryan?
It won some awards. It won a few
Yeah.
awards. Honestly,
Like, when you say
I
awards,
did.
you meaning like special participation awards, or are you talking like Academy
yeah,
Awards?
like everyone's a winner. No, like Academy Awards.
Okay.
If you respect the Academy. Back then, I kind of did. Yeah, I thought it was a very good movie. My man Spielberg did it. Everybody that grew up in my generation pretty much likes Spielberg films, and I just thought it was really, really well done.
So growing
It
up
was-
in America, we do not have a shortage of war movies, would you say?
We do not. No, we do not.
There's always some kind of conflict, something that we want to portray on film after it happened.
Well, war.
That's
I
all
mean,
I
war
was going
movies
with.
were. No, well, no, you're right. I mean, World War II was a perfect example.
Was a big
I mean,
one. There's a ton of movies.
Well-
Like, just real quick, without even going into what movies are, name 10 World War II movies off the top of your head right now. You could probably name 10 of
Oh.
them. Saving
Oh
Private
my
Ryan,
God.
right? Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Fury.
Yeah. Okay. I was
You-
gonna say things
Jojo
like Casablanca.
Rabbit. Oh, Casablanca. Is that World War II?
It takes place during that time. What I was gonna say is a lot of black and white films were made during World War II, and shortly thereafter,
I would believe so.
while
It was
the
a long,
war was still going
it was
on.
a long
While
war.
the war was still going on.
It's a long
yeah,
war,
it was
of
going on for
course.
years. And those films, like Desert Fox, they stole news footage and military footage to splice into their films.
Well, there's also footage of like filmmakers on the scene in the war trying to get action shots for their movies in World War
Oh,
II.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so, I mean, just a brief history, people that may or may not know. Hollywood had a big role in World War II. A lot of our famous, loved directors, Ford, a couple of them were actually military men themselves, went to serve. And while they were there, they were filming the wars. That's why we have so much of the B-roll footage that we have of the World War II is because of these filmmakers from Hollywood. They were real famous directors. They all stopped what they were doing, and they actually went. And perfect example is Midway. And what they did was they filmed all those
Midway.
things. And so also they also used propaganda. They were not training videos / propaganda videos. All the newsreels that were in the movie theaters were all coming from these same people.
Of course. And they want you to feel American pride and
Well, back then it was, and it was very
of course.
personal. I mean,
Because, well,
and
yeah, if we lost,
if you don't
we
live
would
through
be,
it, you don't understand.
If
You
we
know what I mean?
lost, we'd be speaking Japanese or German right now.
Right. And the thing is, people nowadays, and this will sound old years from now, it already is old, but September 11th,
Right.
I remember watching that in real time, which is unheard of.
19
You know what I mean?
years ago.
World War II, they had to listen to it on the radio in real time.
Right.
And so studios like Walt Disney Studios, they were taken over by the U.S. military,
Yes.
and a lot of their military training videos and stuff they would send to the soldiers were actually being animated there.
Donald Duck.
And that's why too, like some people, not Donald Duck per se, but there was some videos that Disney did, but it was actually for the military, made by the military, for the military. Like literally how to clean your gun or how to shoot
wow.
a tank, stuff like that. And it was done in animated form. Then you have, because some people would say like, oh, Walt Disney was a Nazi, blah, 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 because there's like these random clips of Donald Duck wearing a swastika on his armband.
They also
and stuff.
did They also did that propaganda video of showing what a Hitler Youth would be, and it was like showing us the dark side of what it was, and they made fun of it.
Right.
So.
Well, and I actually have all of those shorts, and I'm telling you right now, like, if you watch them in their entirety, they are not pro-Hitler at all. If anything, they are teaching you how Hitler manipulated his own people and brainwashed them. And they also poke fun at Hitler and the Japanese simultaneously. Even Warner Brothers with the Max Fleischer cartoons and Popeye cartoons, they actually started doing their political jabs at especially the Japanese. They really went to the town on the Japanese because Bugs Bunny in the Fuhrer, or I think it was Daffy Duck. Sorry, Daffy Duck goes and like takes out Hitler, you know. So yeah, all the studios, everybody, it affected everybody.
It was a world war, Matt.
It was a world war. So yeah. But anyways, I think the reason why you brought it up was because we were talking about film. So we kind of got the first history lesson out of the way, which is Hollywood was actually actively involved in the process of filming the war itself.
But I was
with
trying
our filmmakers.
I was trying to.
But you want to talk about cinematic features?
Cinematic,
so.
yeah. I wanted the features like what came out. Like recently, Midway came out. We have Australia that was about close to World War II time.
Yeah, you're talking about all the
Pearl
different
Harbor,
new ones. Yeah,
Fury. You have
there's so many.
Private
Schindler's
Ryan,
List.
Schindler's List. You can name
Another
a lot
Spielberg.
of them. But my thing is, I like World War II history. I'm very involved in it.
Yeah.
There's lots about it that is very interesting, and there's lots of parts in the history in the war that little things didn't happen, then everything could have gone wrong.
These are all modern ones.
Right. But then I think about war movies, and then I go, well, how many are there of World War One? Like when they came out with the most recent one, 1917, right? Was that the one?
Right.
No. Yeah. I thought it was really well done film because I'm like, where are all the World War One movies? Because you have Flyboys with James Franco, which was not too good, but. And then you have All Quiet on the Western Front. That's a good movie too. But there's not many. There's not many World War One movies.
Legends of the Fall, is that one?
Maybe
that's World War One.
I didn't see it.
I can't remember if that's World War One or not.
Because I feel like you learn. A lot of people learn. I like using these history movies because they're a lot based off based off true.
And
events.
they're not that far apart. 1 and 2 are not timeline wise. They're not that far apart.
They're not far apart at all. Maybe 20 years, and it's just. It's interesting because a lot of people can get their knowledge from history lessons from these movies because it helps.
It's like a Cliff Notes, if anything. Yeah. You have to fact check it, but yeah.
But World War One, a lot of people are like, well, how did World War One start? I mean, technically, World War One started because of an assassination, but all of that, like you have some of these, like All Quiet on the Western Front is a great movie. I think all my schools around in my area made you watch it in like high school.
Read the book as well.
Right, but it's just interesting to see that. Like a lot of these not portraying that, but now we're getting more modern movies too. Like you have one that won the Academy Award, but best movie, but I think it was a political stunt. It was James Cameron's ex-wife. Hurt Locker.
The Hurt Locker.
There's that one, and then the most recent one on Netflix came out. Outpost.
Okay.
That one's just about the bloodiest battle in Afghanistan. It was a modern war. I think it was in 2003 when it happened, or no, not 2000. Yeah, maybe 2003.
Is that the one with the tanks fighting on themselves, shooting on themselves?
No, this was when they were like in this base was in the gully, and actually in the movie, it's kind of funny, not funny, but interesting to me because one of the actors in the movie was actually at that real battle when it happened. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, you want to put yourself in like your mind back into that mindset again. It's like you're brave.
I'm sure it never leaves you. Leaves you.
But then like you're listening
Black
to the
Hawk
movie.
Down was another one too.
Right. Oh, Black Hawk Down. But you're learning about like these missions. Like they had this base in this gully that was not defensible. And then you like watch the movie and right away in my head clicks, well, it was bait. You guys were live bait for the Taliban to come out and they wanted to hunt them down. But then, since they fought this bloody battle, the Americans could not defend well. Their air support was lacking. Then they realized, we can't do this anymore. So then it became an outlaw and the thing. But I'm sure there was some high up rank in that because if you're watching this, you're like, well, there has to be more to the story than just what they're telling us. But it gets you on that motion and that thread to follow and go, hey. So that's why I think war movies are important. And it's interesting because you get to see all the aspects. Plus,
I like watching films like that for history lessons and stories, or maybe points of view that we would not have normally watched the first time around.
Or
because,
thought
like I
of
said,
it.
Hollywood in the golden age, they did a crap ton. I mean, a crap ton of war movies, and that's around World War II, and that's just purely because it was happening for years. You know, and like I said, Hollywood was actively involved in the war, so it just made sense. Like every movie was like boom, boom, boom. Like I can't even tell you how many John Wayne movies alone that he did that was World War II. You know,
well, right now Netflix has a special on Netflix, and that's where Netflix shows are, and it has World War II footage from the real time, but they have it colored.
Yeah,
who took the time to color all that shit?
Hollywood.
Jesus.
Hollywood. Those films, that's what I'm saying. Those films that you watched in those documentaries are the films that those Hollywood directors made. Those are those clips.
And then you get movies like, Inglourious Basterds, where you were like, that's how history should have gone.
Well, you know, like that's where I didn't want to go there, but then you got Hollywood's interpretation.
Yeah. Well, that was just
that's just and their political messaging.
That's Quentin Tarantino doing what the fuck he wants. Whoops.
Well, I'm not saying him directly. I'm just saying Hollywood as a whole, the modern Hollywood. Let me rephrase. That's when they like to do their interpretations one way or the other, and but then their messaging.
But I also find it interesting too. It's the idea that there's also some movies out there and TV shows and video games that what if Hitler won? Like Wolfenstein has a game where the trailer is you're in America, but it's all Nazi flags and they won. But of course you're the character like, I'm going to break this. But like if Hitler won, I feel like we'd always be at war until he had the world. You know what I mean?
It's interesting that you mentioned video games because it made me just now think of the Call of Duty franchise is massive, right?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Everybody likes it because I mean when I first started playing it, the first thing I learned was
never played it.
I would be dead if this was real in like 3 seconds. I would not have survived instantly. You know, like so that's the first thing I learned. You know, But to get past that and live this fantasy of being able to survive over and over again, it's kind of interesting to see those worlds and what they went through and the kind of shit they had to go through. It's kind of creepy because that in and of itself is like literally a walking through history lesson because they actually go to real places.
Right.
You know, like one of the games you actually climb the steps in Germany to plant the flag, and you know what I mean. It's like. That's like mission, really what happened. You know what I mean? That would actually happen. It was like we're trying to beat the Russians to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I can't. Oh man,
you can't imagine.
Russia? Was it in Moscow? Or was it in Moscow that we were rushing or Germany?
The Allies,
I think it was Berlin.
The Allies were not. Maybe Berlin.
I think it was Berlin. I think it was in Berlin. We were like a mad race to see who would get to the top.
I was going to say
because
the Allies were never in Russia. Russia was Russia, and then we were on the other side.
Okay, because I know Russia.
We were the West. They were the Eastern.
Yeah, well, the Russians obviously started on the wrong side, and then when they got betrayed, they're like, "Oh, I guess we'll fight Hitler."
Well,
now.
no, they just played it safe and said we both invade Poland and it'll be great. But then, when Hitler that's the problem. When Hitler backstabbed Russia, that was his second mistake, I think, in the war.
And that didn't help his cause.
No, it did not help. When he did that, that's pretty much nailed his coffin, and that was it.
Yeah.
If he didn't do that, Stalin would have been like, I don't care. But then when he betrayed, it's like, come on, like you chose winter.
Well, anyways, but by like the video games, like I said, you're literally living through what they did. You're literally going through the buildings. Like even like one of the Call of Duties, I think it was the second one. I mean, this isn't World War II, but Chernobyl. Like they actually have legit. One of the maps that the world you go and play in for a level is straight up Chernobyl. That's town.
That's in some Call of Duty.
Yeah, you actually go there. It's pretty creepy how accurate it is because I watched some Chernobyl documentaries and I'm like, holy crap, this is legit.
There's that new Chernobyl documentary on HBO.
It's not a documentary. It's a TV
show.
It's a TV. It's like a mini series.
But it's so legit. Like
oh my god, it creeps me out. I need to watch
it. You start googling.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Things, and like you do it, and you're like, holy crap, that really happened. They changed some small things to make it work, but not much.
No,
and you're
no,
just like,
and
holy
it
crap.
taught me that they're still effed over there because they only put a small plate. Like they couldn't even nail it down. It's literally just sitting on top of it.
Well, no, they're building that sarcophagus. It's going to roll over it soon. I think they started making that in 2016. I Google as soon as like I
that's already passed, Joel. So hopefully it's there.
Hopefully it's already there, and this was the last for another 100 years with this over it.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just insane to think like these people are working there. Like you can't work.
Well,
there
even
for
the
long.
elephant foot. You know what I mean? That ooze that just keeps eating and keeps going. You know, like you can't stop it.
And that whole scene with the guy looking over the edge and dying, and pretty much given a death sentence right there. He's a walking dead at that point.
Yeah.
And that really happened. And it's just to think about it. And I watched so many YouTube videos, and so many of them on the bottom in the comments say, I'm here because of Chernobyl's HBO series.
Yeah.
Because you're so curious. Like, are people go in there sometimes in those cities and they stay for up to
HBO
3 hours max. Yeah. They did a really good job.
Yeah. No, they literally, those guys that had to clean the roof. Literally had what was it like 30 seconds? No, they had 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, but whatever. Of course they knew. Like they basically were screwed. Like
they all knew they were going to die.
It was like if they didn't take care of it, everyone knew they were screwed.
And that's when I realized superheroes don't exist, because we would have gotten someone out of that, right? Someone would have been the Hulk. Something would have happened, right?
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Well, maybe they're just lying dormant like Godzilla, and they're just going to burst through the earth someday. You know?
Oh, maybe
some little tapeworm that somehow mutated into something amazing.
Oh man. But yeah, Chernobyl.
No, it was so hard. I almost made a political joke. I had to stop. All right. So, anyways, moving on. That's not war though. Chernobyl's not war.
No. But now I'm thinking like we're talking like history movies and all that.
No, we're not changing it. We always do the sticking to war. So
war movies,
let me ask you a question.
War.
What
was for?
What was your favorite war movie of all time? Do you have one?
I do. I don't know if the war movie. I do go back to Saving Private Ryan. Like if it's on TV, to be honest, I won't like just turn it on because it's one of those movies that's hard to just go. All right, I want to watch people die today.
Yeah, well, you don't want to sit down and say, "Hey, let's watch a bunch of soldiers die."
Well, because and then there's that one scene where the guy, like the Jew, is fighting the German. He slowly stabs him. Like no, but it's just but. A lot of those war movies too, you're watching them and you're like, you're imagining like this is what these people went through, and this is probably just very little of it. It's probably not even dramatizing it enough. You know what I mean?
Well, when Saving Private Ryan came out, veterans who were still alive at the time that saw the film, the opening scene at the beach, literally couldn't handle it because they said it was the most accurate thing that's ever been depicted in film.
Damn.
What they witnessed and went through.
Well, I was told I wasn't allowed to.
Articles.
I was told I wasn't allowed to go see it because of my stepdad was in Vietnam, so I couldn't see it in theaters. I have seen it now.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing. That movie was great. Well done.
Band of Brothers.
Scripted. I was gonna say TV show wise, Band of Brothers, and I did like the Pacific because like I've been liking these the Pacific Wars now, the Midway Wars. Because
because you're learning more about this. A lot of
you're learning more.
People forget about.
People forget.
They
and
don't really remember that part of the war.
They don't remember the Pacific War after like, all right, we bombed Japan. That was it. No,
there was a lot.
There was all these battles on Midway Islands. We did D-Day after D-Day after D-Day on each freaking beach, and they were going.
Yeah, Pacific War was really hard.
Some of them they were like cool because first off it was hard because the Japanese were kamikazes.
Right.
How do you defeat an enemy that doesn't kill but killing them, dying themselves?
Right.
And then you're jumping from beach to beach to beach in like humidity, this awful weather.
And they had to go literally island to island.
To island. Some islands they were greeted. Some islands, if you read the story, some islands were greeted by like one guy who had like was selling tacos or whatever, and he's just like, "Yo."
I don't think they ate tacos.
No, I didn't. I couldn't think of anything else. I don't think they had tacos. Sushi? I don't know. A sushi seller? Like, yeah. But like that war is crazy, and then watching Midway was a whole nother branch. It was like watching Japan's side of why they attacked Pearl Harbor, and it makes you want to go.
Well, it was more political, but yes, political.
But those are interesting to me.
Yeah, my earlier childhood. Obviously, I was a military brat, so I lived in Hawaii for I think 3 or 4 years.
Don't be jealous of him. He was a toddler, guys.
I was a toddler, but I remember things. I remember going in helicopter rides and tanks and all that other stuff. And I was obviously stationed at near Pearl, and I remember going there all the time as a kid. And if you've never been, you should try to go.
Absolutely.
But they have a lot of memorials there, obviously.
Yeah.
And a lot of the memorials depict the actual battles from the bombing.
Yeah.
It's like an outdoor map, and you walk all the way across, and you can see all of the stuff that you're talking about the Pacific War, and it shows every single battle and what happened and when. You go to Pearl itself, and obviously you're at the memorial, and it has a list of all the people that died and who are stuck on the Arizona, and obviously you can see it. It's popped right out of the water right there, and they give the opportunity that anyone that survived,
I was going to say that
there, they can be buried in the
with their comrades.
Arizona. And they also hang. I don't know if they still do it, but they used to hang flags on the Arizona, and the flag of the day, so to speak, and then you could purchase a flag that actually hung off the Arizona.
I think when I was there 4 years ago, they were doing that still, yeah.
Yeah. So, so it's kind of funny because my childhood, I thought the whole world was like Hawaii. I didn't know any better at the time. So, I was just like, everybody says shakas,
hang loose.
Just how we talk. Hang loose, yo. So,
oh my gosh.
But Pearl Harbor, that movie, as a result, I appreciated that movie because it obviously was filmed in a lot of places that I grew up and saw as a child. So it wasn't amazing, movie, but it was a good movie. It was long and it was good.
But I appreciated it too because it showed that we had to learn new aircraft techniques.
Yeah.
And
we learned on the fly.
And we also learned that you watch that movie, you learn that one of the first attacks on Japan was not. People all think like, oh, we nuked them, that was it. No, there was an airstrike first, and then we didn't just go, well, fuck it, we're going to drop nukes on them.
We actually Midway, I think, was first, right?
We warned them.
We intercepted their ships,
right,
and then that cleared the way for us to get to the Pacific. And then we warned them 3 times, and we bombed. People think we only bombed them once. We actually bombed them a couple of times. We bombed them a couple of times, and we were like, and I think it was by the threat of the third one where they finally surrendered.
Well, no, we bombed them nuke-wise twice.
Yes,
and
by the time we threatened.
Yeah. I remember when we bombed before we bombed the first one. America warned them, saying it's gonna be a bomb you've seen like no other. To surrender now, yada yada yada. We won't drop it if you surrender now. And Japan said no, and then he dropped it. They saw the magnitude of it, and they weren't surrendering it, so they did it again. And now Japan's like, crap. How many more of these do they have?
Yeah, no, we just kept bombing them. But that again, that might be a cultural thing, like a pride thing. I don't know, but
I don't know.
Plus
all war is
brought
ugly.
Shame because all those Japanese soldiers that fought and then their country surrendered, it was all for nothing too.
Well, when I watched Midway, they showed the official picture because in the Midway movie, they showed the ending where they did the treaty signing, right?
Yes, and that footage actually was recently discovered only a few years ago.
That's probably why Midway was
the
made
colored
then.
Version. The colored version.
Okay.
Up high.
Well, you know how back then during that time everyone looked at the emperor as like a god, someone you can't be trifled with. But then the sergeant, a general, wanted a photo with him when they signed the treaty, and he's like, I wanted this photo printed and put in all Japanese newspapers as soon as it was taken, and it was him standing next to the emperor, and he's 3 feet taller than the emperor, just to show that we are bigger, and to make him look like he was infantile, like he was a smaller person.
Yep.
So
yeah, no, it's true. It's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of. Schindler's List obviously is like it revolves around World War II, but obviously that's a really hard one to watch.
It's like I remember I've been trying to watch it for years. I watched it recently as a Jewish person.
Mm-hmm.
I should have watched it earlier, but I'm glad I watched it when I did because I understood it more.
Sure.
And I know I've been trying to watch it, and everyone's like, "You haven't seen it yet," and it's like you're telling me I haven't seen it yet, and I already know what. Like when people didn't know what the movie was, they went to go see it. And of course, it was sad.
That's crazy. Just that alone is kind of crazy.
Right. People want to go see it in the theaters. They didn't understand it, whatever. But now when people are like, you haven't seen it? Well, I know the whole story of it. I know what it is. I mean, Schindler's the only Nazi to be buried in Israel. And I was like, I need to go see it. But it's like, you're telling me I need to be sad and upset for 3 hours. I don't know if I can do that right now. You know, and I got to be in that right set
No,
of mind to do it.
You're committing to something heavy.
You're committing, yeah.
And of course, living in Germany, I was able to tour all the places that they talked about there.
I
too.
do want to do that. I want to go do that. I was disgusted when I saw people taking selfies and shit with over there. It's like, come on, people, have some respect.
Yeah, no, it's disrespectful. No, I know. It's a very solemn place. You mentioned 1917.
Yes.
Is that
Have you seen it?
Christopher Nolan?
No, that was Dunkirk was Christopher Nolan, which was well done too. The Battle of Dunkirk, where they escaped. They all got funneled to that bay and they all escaped.
Right. Sorry, I was thinking of Dunkirk. I loved Dunkirk because I loved the editing style and choices that they made to tell that story.
Nolan, baby.
It was just really well done.
That whole moment.
I don't know if it was Nolan for editing purposes. He might have had obviously a say.
Him and his brother were the director and writer of it, so of the screenplay.
Yeah, but the editing aspect of it is like, it's funny because if you're not a film person, like I could probably see my mom maybe getting confused watching it. Like, I don't understand, like, who is this person? It's like, well, you've already seen this happen. You've already seen it happen. You don't even know. But anybody else is kind of paying attention to the environment, like, oh, there's a boat down there and a plane is flying over it, and then later you see a plane, and like the plane is flying and you see a tiny little boat.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, views of it.
You see people on the beach and you see a plane flying. It's just, but it's at different times of the story. Like, it's like, okay, we showed you 30% of this character. Now we're going to rewind it a little bit and we're going to show you this other character, and it's going to show you about the same 30% from a different angle at a different time. Right. And I thought that was kind of really clever.
Or at the same time, just at the same time,
depending on how you do it.
That whole scene at the boat when they were trying to get the boat to go out to sea, and all of a sudden people started shooting it up. That was like an epic scene. I don't know how many of them died there. Remember they had that beached boat they were trying to use to get off the island.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the idea that
sense,
and they also took the idea of like when what really happened was they asked any available ships that can go over to Dunkirk and pick up any of our soldiers.
That is true, absolutely.
And knowing that like that, you're following this one family, this father who's doing it. Of course, he doesn't make it, or the kid gets kicked down the stairs and he breaks his head.
So it's a family friend that gets killed. Yeah,
that's what it is. I felt so bad for that one. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
But I think that really happened.
But the humanity of war films is apparent in all films. But in that scene is a perfect example because the soldier asks, "Is he okay?" And the friend says, "Yes, he's fine." But really, when you find out, it's obviously he's not. He's dead. But even in that moment of grief, the kid knows that the soldier's so out of it that he's just gonna lie to him, and his father is approving of that decision. You know what I mean?
Know.
It's pretty intense, but
a lot of
we didn't talk about Civil War movies or there's a lot of wars like
Lincoln,
Middle East wars. Lincoln, but that's
we talked a little bit. Hurt Locker was a Middle Eastern.
It's
war.
like political. It's tough because, like if you could try, what would you say would be your favorite Vietnam movie?
See, that I was just gonna ask what Vietnam movies are out there. The only one I can think of right now, to be honest, is like The Watchmen, because it's taking place at the beginning of Vietnam, and it's like, really?
See, for me, I maybe because I work for film and music entertainment, but like Platoon, I would say Platoon was one of the more meaningful ones.
Apocalypse Now, is that World War II? No, that's Vietnam, isn't it?
Oh my God, I'm embarrassed to say I don't know. I don't know where Apocalypse.
They're going through a jungle.
Yeah, it's like the Heart of Darkness kind of story. I can't remember when that takes place. I think it's Vietnam.
Could be Vietnam.
I don't know why, but I think it's Vietnam. But they're not. I don't think they are in Vietnam, are they? They're somewhere else.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'll look it up after
so
this.
Long.
Yeah.
But are there any, like for me, Black Hawk Down was one that I thought was pretty intense at the time. Mogadishu Mile at the end.
Dang.
Which is famous, Saving Private Ryan stands out quite a bit as World War II, like the World War II film for me right now. I liked Casablanca.
Ryan, yeah.
I liked Casablanca because I liked the effect of war had on other people and what they were trying to do, the underground and the desperation. I liked seeing that aspect of things. Like to this day, I love how Rick just says, "Oh, how about that? My eyes are blue or brown, whatever color eyes he had at the time." But I just the Nazis had a record of him and his whole establishment before they even showed up.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And he's like, he takes their book from them, and it's supposed to be a neutral place. You know, it's supposed to be neutral. You know, but even then, the Nazis are trying to take over.
It's just crazy what movies came out. Even The Monument Men, about them going in and just saving art, is an interesting story.
Yeah, well, George Lucas, I mean, he even picked Nazis for
Wait, Lucas
Indiana
made that?
Jones.
Indiana
Jones.
Right.
George Lucas picked Nazis as the ultimate villain for Indiana Jones.
Because, like, if you listen to Bill Burr, he mentions, like, there's no greater villain than Hitler and his Nazis. Like, when you hear people, like, he doesn't know why it turned out this way, but when you compare
the case back then.
But you right now, even today, you go like, oh yeah, you're talking about someone like, oh, that guy's just as bad as Hitler. Like, that's the top. Like, oh, that's just as bad as Hitler.
Well, that's true.
He's doing this.
That's true.
Like, even though Stalin killed way more people, but it's like, Stalin was just bad as Hitler. Are you sure Hitler wasn't as bad as Stalin? Yeah. So it's
like
just
Syria and Iran are just as bad.
Like, it's just hilarious to hear that Hitler was the top for the time being. Maybe in America. Maybe Hitler's the top here in America. I don't know where it is anywhere else.
I'm pretty sure he's hated across the board.
No, absolutely. I mean,
he didn't make too many friends in Europe or in Russia, for that matter.
He convinced the country.
And the Middle East got screwed out of it, too, during World War II. They were supposed to have land deals, and all that got thrown out the window.
Yay.
So anyways, we didn't really talk about much of film, like war films. We talked kind of more about the history of war, which is fine. Something new and different.
Something different.
It's a different kind of entertainment, if you want to call it entertainment.
Yeah.
More like a history lesson.
Our voices is entertainment.
It sure is, Joel. Yeah, sensual voices. Right.
Go to sleep to that, baby.
Do you have a final thought? I'm all set.
Oh, like no final thought. You're just done.
I'm pretty good. Yeah, no. I'm sure more war movies will come to me later, but I can't think of any.
I know. As soon as we go hit done, it's gonna go. Oh, remember this movie?
Always the case. Lawrence Fishburne, black actors that I like. Pee-wee's Playhouse, all the way to Matrix and beyond.
My final thought would be comparing war movies to you seeing like fictional movies that have war in them. Like, let's just go with, like the Clone Wars.
Like Star Wars?
Yeah,
like Star Wars?
I'm looking at.
Yeah, I almost made a joke, but I didn't do it.
It's just like, as you watch, you compare the two. It's interesting when you see, like, even like Terminator, you see that war. You don't relate. It doesn't hit home. They're good movies. They're fun. I'm not saying good movies. I don't want to say that. I want to say that they're fun rides.
Right.
But then a war movie hits you differently because it's based on truth.
Actual events.
Even Inglourious Bastards didn't hit the same way that like Saving Private Ryan did, because Inglourious Bastards you knew was fiction. Even though it's based in a non-fiction
I would say
world.
I still feel more watching that movie than I would Star Wars.
Yes, you're true. So you have like levels. Like when you watch like Midway or you watch Band of Brothers, you feel something different about it. Like, this is what life was. Or it could be, or it could be in the future. But then you see Star Wars going, pew, 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 stormtroopers. And you're like, oh, this is fun. It's fun to watch. Not for me. I'm not a Star Wars fan. But you see that. Or you see Marvel. You see like Infinity War. And you see that battle at the end. It's fun to watch. It's interesting to see. And then, but it's not the same. It's not the same. So I'm just saying, like, it's different types of entertainment. I think you watch war movies because people are interested of what happened then, which is great because that means there's a want for knowledge and to know history, which is great.
Sure. Well, and the other factor too is, I mean, some people may not be history buffs, and when they watch something like that for the first time, they're saying, "Holy crap, that actually happened!" Like, and I'm not saying the war. I'm saying like the
what
fine
happened.
Details.
Right.
Yeah, the fine details.
And then what do they usually do? They go out and they research it. They Google it. They look at things and go, "Oh my God, that is real. That guy is a real guy." I do it every time I watch a movie. I'm like, I got it. What? Like, what the hell? I did it.
Well, if anybody
I did it recently with Spawn, but anyways.
Spawn's not real, Joel. I hate to burst your bubble.
It's not. Hal Simmons is not real.
No. But what I was gonna say was that I lost it. Lost my train of thought. You were talking about researching people and all that stuff, but a good screenwriter, the number one job is to do their homework before they start writing. Absolutely.
And the movie shows it if it's a good movie.
That's right. So on that note, thank you for listening to Entertainment Banter. My name is Matt.
And my name is Joel. Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. I'm done.